When you see the whole world shaking and you feel your heart is breaking, take my hand, no hesitating. When you're just so tired of trying, all alone you feel like hiding. Together we'll keep fighting. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't stop now. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna mountains too high we can climb it. Feelings we'll take in the moment. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Can you see the sun is shining like a new hope? Feel it rising, coming over the horizon. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't stop now. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna mountains too high we can climb it. Feelings we'll take in the moment. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. There's no stopping.
Good evening, but it's not evening, honestly. It's about 11:18. I'm doing this early. It's Saturday. It looks like the sun is finally coming out. I'll be out and about, so not to rush back home to do my podcast. I'm doing it earlier, but no matter what, it'll be on at 7 p.m. on Saturdays, like it always is, about 99.9% of the time, okay? So it is April. Oh my goodness. It's it's June 24th, and I'm Chris Gajulo. I am an associate broker and licensed realty specialist for Realty Connect LLC. And this is my weekly podcast, Real Estate with Mr. G, where we talk about today's current topics within the real estate and probably, I should add, mortgage industry. And I'll tell you a little bit, well, before I talk about, again, what I'm doing with Realty Connect, I've been always, for the last 2 years, uploading just the audio files to Spotify. But now it seems that I could do the video as well, which is good because I really think you need to see the things I'm doing. It's not just like I've had guests on the show before, but it's supposed to be me talking, explaining, and doing my videos and having some fun. So it's more of a visual event, and I think that's a good thing. Okay, so my last podcast that I uploaded to Spotify is a video podcast, and from this moment on, they will all be video podcasts. So I guess you can still listen to me if you're working out, if you right before you go to bed. Hopefully, you're taking in the information. Whatever activity you're doing, you can listen to me, but now you can visually see me as well. Okay. So with Realty Connect, we are in 50 states. I'm still an active agent. I have to keep my license active. But instead of actually showing properties to clients and listing properties for clients, I will give them some consultation, but you would then enter your info on my website. You'll see it in my video. The address, real estate with Mr. G .us because of the United States, because I could help you find a property within the 50 states of the United States of America. I hope I wasn't being redundant, but the states, the United States. And or if you're selling a home, I could help you with that as well. So you're getting like a 2-for-1 here, and there's no additional cost to me. All right, it's not like, well, he's going to act like a consultant. I'm going to have to write him a check. No, everything comes out at the end from the closing of the sale. Okay, so using me is not going to cost you $1 more, and that's a nice thing. So let me show my little video that backs that up. Hope you enjoy. So I know that sounds like a main theme song from a Western, and it is. It was written. I think it's actually called the last great Western song, and I actually own the rights to that. But I just love the sound of it. So I know in the beginning you see cattle and prairies and prairie dogs, but I'm just showing how I could help you if you're out living by there, if you're in Brooklyn, New York, if you're in Atlanta, wherever, I can help you. Okay? All righty then. So let's go and let's see what we're going to talk about today. And let me get up. This is Jaden from Suffolk. He has a question for us to discuss.
Good day, Mr. G. Thanks for having me on your video podcast. I would like to purchase a home, and I know the first step is to be pre-approved for a mortgage. Can you tell me a little bit about credit scores, at what number it should be for me to purchase, and how credit scores are determined? Any information would be most appreciated. Love the podcasts. It is viewed by my whole family and friends.
Thank you so much, Jaden. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And, that is really such an important question. And the reason why I say this, with all my years of doing real estate, and I have people who call me, contact me, email me, text me, send out smoke messages, and they want to look at homes. But so many of them haven't gotten that pre-approval as of yet, okay? Which is very important. And they'll always say, okay, let me look at some homes first before I go to let me just, and unfortunately it doesn't work that way. And one of the big reasons why, I have to say, I'm going to be very honest with you, is that we are purely a commission-based business. All right, a realtor or a real estate agent is not getting paid an hourly wage or a weekly wage or an annual wage. Okay, we are paid by the work we do and when we close. Okay, so it's a commission-based business. So if we're going out and and you might be a wonderful person, a wonderful couple, fun, sweet, whatever, and love spending time with you, but if there isn't a carrot at the end of that string that I know that you could actually buy a house from me or list that, well, but let's talk about buyers right now. To buy a house that it's only, I don't want to say a charity work, but it's like I'm just doing work for free for nothing, and I need to pay bills. I need to put food on the table. I have things to pay. So, and on the other hand, it's also helpful for you because the ones that don't do that pre-approval first or pre-qualification, and there is a difference, and I'll make a note to get into it. You'll find that dream house, and you get all excited, and then you'll find out that number one, you don't really qualify now for a mortgage for various reasons. Or number two, you could get a mortgage, but this house is too expensive for you. And now you wasted your own time and you wasted the agent's time. The best thing to do is to get that pre-qualification. And let me just go quickly over pre-qualification and pre-approval. Pre-qualification is when you call the mortgage loan officer on the phone and say, I make this amount of money. I have income come from here, there. And then the loan officer will run the credit report, and they'll say, based upon this, we could pre-qualify you for a mortgage, let's say up to $300,000. The pre-approval is actually when you go in to the office of the loan officer, bring all your paperwork, because right now you're just saying over the phone how much money you make. All right, but they have to see it in hard copy. They have to see it in print. All right, and they'll process that work, and then once the loan officer gives that pre-qualification to you, it goes to the underwriter, and then the underwriter really checks into everything very deeply. They dot the I's and cross the T's. Usually when you have your salaries, for instance, like the military, okay, they have their salary. They know exactly how much they're making. When I say they, I'm talking about the underwriters. They know how much they will make in the future. So it's very, quick and easy to understand. Sometimes people have income from, it could be alimony, it could be child support, it could be income from rental properties, and that needs a little bit more digging into to verify everything. Okay? Especially it gets difficult when I just talked about a commission-based business. When you are basically receiving money in from commissions, you have to. I mean, they will look at 2 years of your income taxes, how much money you take in, but it takes in a lot more emphasis. In other words, you have to show if you're doing a commission-based job, you have to do it for at least 2 years if that's your only source of income before you could actually apply for a mortgage, because they have to see that consistency, right, that you're bringing in income from that. I had one deal that fell through because this young man worked for a carpet cleaning company, and the loan officer thought it was pure base salary that he received. But later on, he had a base salary, but most of his money came from commissions. So, for instance, I'll give you an example. I'm not saying all cleaning companies do this, how they go, but you call up a cleaning company, a carpet cleaning company, and say, "I just want to do my living room," and then they so they get a base salary off of that to go in there and they'll do. But then for them to make more money, they say, "Well, what we could do the dining room. It'll be just this much more." We could do the bedrooms, and if they could add on to that, that's like a commission. All right, the more they push, what they could clean. And I'm not saying all carpet cleaning companies work like that, but that was an example for this one. So being that he had just started that job, well, not just started, maybe he was in there for about 6 months, we had to see, or the loan officer had to see, and this loan officer found it out like right before closing, that it wasn't a purely based, or a job based upon a base commission. All right, I'm using one word the same way twice. I'm sorry. Okay, but it was, a commission. So it was maybe a quarter base salary, and above that it was all commission. So when the majority of the income is with commissions, right? They had to see 2 years of that, and we lost the deal. They wouldn't close on it. Okay, so it gets tricky, and that's why giving that example proves more how important it is to be pre-qualified and then pre-approved prior to you go out and looking. That's so important, And I've realized that the people say, "Oh, my credit is fine," we find out there are problems with his or her credit, and when they say, I have some issues, I don't know how good it is," and we find out that, oh yeah, we could get you a mortgage, and based upon how much debt you have and how much income you have coming in, the limits are set. It could be, $250,000, it could be $300,000, and so forth. All right. So let's look at our document for today, and let me make this a little bit wider. Okay. And we'll get rid of my caption. We don't really need that now. Let's hide that. And let's start talking about what home buyers need to know about credit scores, okay? So if you're thinking about buying a home, you should know your credit score is a critical piece of the puzzle when it comes to qualifying you for a home loan. Lenders review Lenders review your credit to assess your ability to make payments on time, to pay back debts, and more. It's also a factor that helps determine your mortgage rate. Okay? So instead of reading the whole quote, basically, the better your credit is, the more on-time payments you make, the amount of debt that you have outstanding will determine your credit rate, your credit score, and the higher that is, the lower your mortgage payment would be because of a lower mortgage rate or lower mortgage interest rate. Basically, if you have little debt and you're paying your debts on time, you are less of a risk to the bank, and the bank will give you a better rate. If you have late payments and you have a lot of outstanding debt, but you still can be approved, but the bank says, well, this person is a little bit more risk, so we're going to charge them a higher rate. All right? So typically, the higher your score, the lower the interest rates and better terms you qualify more. This means your credit score may feel even more important to your home buying plans right now, since mortgage rates are a key factor in affordability, especially today. Okay? Because we know that mortgage rates are pretty high right now. High compared to what they were 3 years ago when they were below 3%. Okay, now they're getting close to 7%. Now, the important thing to note is that, and let me highlight this quote here. You don't need a perfect credit score to buy a house. Aiming to get your credit score in the good range, 670 to 739, will be a great start towards qualifying for a mortgage. But if you're wanting to qualify for the lowest rate, try to get your score within the very good range of 740 to 799. Now, I have mortgage companies that will work with around 640. All right. And when they look at your credit report, they may need some letters of explanation, some clarification. When you get closer to that 680, those extra questions kind of go away. All right. So what are they going to look at? Or what determines? Well, before I go that, so I would say, if your credit is in the high 500s, push to get to 640 and see if you could be pre-approved with that. I mean, if you can make your score go up high, by all means do that. The higher it is, the better the chances that you get that pre-approval. I'm not saying you can't at 640, but it's like putting on a shoe that fits perfectly and just slide it in. You might not even need a shoehorn. All right. So when you get to that 680 range, you're pretty good. You get over 700, now you're getting a better rate. So what do they look at? Your payment history. Late payments can have a negative impact by dropping your score. Focus on making payments on time and paying any existing late charges quickly. So if you do get a late charge, pay it off quick. Don't let it linger. If that is your first late charge, or you haven't had one for at least 6 months, it's very possible. And I would recommend calling that credit card company, whatever, bank, loan, and that's saying, hey, I made a mistake. I had a problem. I was in the hospital. I had a bad, whatever. But saying, just, as a professional courtesy, could you forgive that late payment fee? And most times they will. I mean, because you're taking initiative, right? You're going and saying, all right, okay, I made a mistake. I'm sorry. Don't give all these reasons. Oh, don't be mad because you got the late fee. That never works, okay? Don't say, how dare you charge me? I've been a customer. No, just say, I missed the date. I had an issue this weekend. Could you please forgive that one? Just a professional courtesy. And if you're nice, there's a good chance, a very good chance. Because when it's something, I've done that. I've called a credit card company, actually, a couple times, and I've gotten late fees forgiven. And I was sweet about it, okay? So I'm telling you, this is from personal experience here. So, I don't want to talk too loud. But yeah, I've done it, and it worked for me. So, so they're gonna that didn't highlight. Okay, late payments can have a negative impact by dropping your score. Focus on making payments on time and paying existing late charges quickly. Your debt amount, also very important. When it comes to your available credit amount, the less you're using, the better. Focus keeping this number as low as possible. What the rule of thumb is, you should only have a third of your credit balance being your unpaid balance. So in other words, if you have $1,000 credit limit on a card, you shouldn't have more than $300. I know that's tough, but that looks a lot better. So keep it at a third. Credit applications, if you're looking to buy, this is very important. Don't apply for other credit, because it could result in a hard inquiry on your credit that drops your score. So if you look for, if you haven't looked or applied for a credit card in a while, and you get one, it's not too bad. But if you have done a lot, okay, or if you went to a couple of credit card companies and you applied, and whether you're accepted or not, it begins to drop your credit score. So, but especially, you've been approved for a mortgage. You wrote a contract. You have 30 days to close, 35 days. Do not take out any more credit applications. Don't take out a credit card. Don't buy a car, and so forth. Because every time you do it, it dings your credit a little bit. And if you take out the credit card and then you say you're buying furniture for the new house, but now your debt to income is increasing, and it could knock you out of the ballpark for getting that new home. Okay, so instead of a $1,500 monthly mortgage payment that the loan officer said you could afford, you might be going down to $1,400. And the house that you want has a $1,500 mortgage payment. So, bottom line, with affordability challenges today, it's early still. Prioritizing ways you have a positive impact on your credit scores could help as you get a higher, better mortgage rate. And if you want to learn more, let's connect, all right? But again, through my many, many years of doing real estate, that is the biggest hurdle I have to get buyers to do, is to get that pre-qualification. And you want to find out as soon as possible if there's something you have to do to be able to purchase a house. And that's happened with quite a few of my clients, where they did a credit report. They said, well, your score's a little too low now, but if you pay this off and that off, and by this certain amount, and your loan officer will tell you, they'll make the recommendations on what to pay off and by how much, we could raise your credit score. And I've had buyers who, within a month's time, were eligible. I had some who had to do about 3 months and they were eligible. And that's the right path to do, okay? And now you could hit the ground running, and you could see as many houses you want, and then you see your dream house, you apply for it, and hopefully you win it, and life is sweet, okay? All right. So with that, let's close this out here, and we'll see my nice big happy face here. All right. Now, let's show a little video on why choose. Now, looking now on the seller side, okay, why use a real estate agent when you sell your house? Within the industry, we always give the response to sellers when they try to sell on their own. We could get you a higher price, and it's very possible we can. Okay, in case that seller really doesn't understand the market and what to price their home. Okay, that's a reason why to use an agent. If you are pretty savvy, if you understand the real estate industry and the current trends and doing a proper comparative market analysis of your house with other homes within a mile radius and see what they sold for and what they're being listed at, that's okay. In the long run, you're hiring a real estate agent to help you, or just to do all the legwork for you. All right, to do listing it on the multiple listing service, getting the signs, doing the marketing, doing the flyers, having the open houses, showing the home, being there, and so forth. Handling the paperwork, negotiating, your deals with what you recommend first. We give you the options. It all falls on you, whether to continue, to accept an offer, and so forth. That's what you're paying us for. If you're savvy and you understand the market, and you could save yourself at least 3% the commission, then you could do it. But a lot of people don't have that savvy. It's like when you buy stock, you could buy stock on your own, but some people get a property asset manager, a stock manager, and they say, here's $100,000. You buy what you think is best. I leave that to you. All right. And you pay for that knowledge, for that expertise. You could buy the stock on your own. You could sell the stock on your own, right? Or you put the order in for the buying and the selling. But you pay for the expertise. Same thing when you use a realtor or a real estate agent. You're paying for that expertise. All right. So it only bothers me when they teach us all these wise things to say. Do you want to make money, or I when it comes to the sellers, and you're paying for the expertise, because it's very possible that the seller has not listed the house properly. They might actually have listed it too cheap, or on the other side, too high, and no one's coming to see it. So you're paying for that expertise. Okay. Also remember, you could go to my blog site, and let me get that up over here, and you could go, and we have the things to consider when buying a home. Oh, that's the spring. Where's the summer? I thought I uploaded the summer ones. Hold on. Oh, okay. Well, anyway, I apologize, but the summer guides are now available. I have to upload the graphics on that. I apologize. I thought I did. But where do you go and you get these wonderful things? Let me take this down here. And you go to real estate with Mr. G.blog -resource -materials. And you could download the new summer buying guide and seller guide at the website, and you could download it for free. Okay? All right. I'm hearing from my producer, Isabella, that we may have a famous person in the audience. Is that true, Isabella?
Mr. G, great news. We have a celebrity in the audience. Born in a small village in Moscow, Russia, Nushka Babushka taught herself to dance since there was no other entertainment in the area, as well as no radios or phonographs. As she became more known for her exotic moves, Nushka took a boat trip to America and lived in a small studio apartment in Brighton Beach, Brooklyn. Nushka would perform on the boardwalk as passerbys would throw her money and overripe fruit. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Nushka Babuska.
Okay, there's one more applause. Okay, thank you, Nushka Babushka, for stopping by to Real Estate with Mr. G. Okay, thank you so much. So that's our show for today. We'll see you next week, 7 p.m. on Saturdays. I then rebroadcast the show the following Saturday at 10 a.m. Okay, so be kind to each other, stay safe, and always remember the greatest power we have is to love, and the greatest gift, each other. And I'll see you next week.